First and foremost, all praises are due to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Rakak Padash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. Salutations to the brothers around the four corners of the earth who are teaching his word and truth and sincerity. And shalom to the hopeful elect of Israel who listen and believe in his word. This is Brother Kawat Sabah coming at you with another lesson. This one is entitled, This Truth is About Liberation of the Mind Than the Body. And this truth is referring to us, so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. We are the Hebrew Israelites. So this truth is the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of these scriptures, the knowledge and wisdom and understanding of the good news that Yahweh Shai redeemed us through a sacrifice, forgave us for our sins because we kept going off in the Old Testament. And he is indeed going to return on the day of the Lord to extract 1/3, the elect, the remnant on this side. The 2/3 of our people who don't hearken to this word, they're going to be born through the loins of the 1/3 in the kingdom. So this truth is about liberation of the mind, and the mind also means the heart. But let's go into some scriptures. Let's get Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yahweh, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto Yahweh, which is your reasonable service. And this is referring to the men of the Lord who are on the highways and the byways, the highways and the hedges, the chief places of concourse, preaching this gospel around the whole world. And I'm speaking primarily of Great Millstone, from Elder Apostle to Har on down, and to the brothers affiliated with the doctrine of Great Millstone, which is the 100% truthful doctrine of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So many of us are presenting our bodies as a living sacrifice. And this is our reasonable service because Yahweh Shai presented himself as a sacrifice for us to bring us back into reconciliation with the Father, Yahweh. So let's continue. Let's read Romans 12, verse 2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh. All right? So be not conformed to this world, meaning the customs, the birthdays, the holidays, the traditions, tattoos, entertainment, men with men, women with women, feminism, believing in Babylon, America, so on and so forth. All right? So don't be conformed to this world. All right? This present evil and wicked world. But let's get a definition of that word mind first. The renewing of your mind. We also know mind is, directly correlated with heart. Okay? So to be renewed means to be born again. So many of us, the 1/3 hope for elect, we've been born again through the Spirit. We've been renewed. So let's go get a definition of that word mind. Says here, intention, purpose, design. So many of us have been brought back to the original intention that Yahweh had for us, which was to, live in righteousness to the best of our abilities. So we've been brought back to that, the intention, purpose, design of what Yahweh had in store for us, but we kept violating those laws, statutes, and the commandments. But we've been brought back because of the redemption through the sacrifice of Yahweh Shai. We've been brought back. We've been given a grace period, an opportunity to come back to the Lord in all righteousness to the best of our ability. Let's see what we have here. Let's go down. It says here, memory, remembrance. All right. So we've been brought back to memory, into a remembrance of who we were. To remember something is to put something back together. So our minds have been put back together, all right, via the sacrifice of Yahweh Shai. So we're coming back into rehearsing the righteous acts, to doing our best to walk in the Spirit and put off wickedness in the old man. Let's continue. Let's see what else we have here. the heart or seat of affection. All right. So our mind, which is really the heart as well, they're interconnected. Our mind is looking at Yahushai and his truth, knowledge and wisdom and understanding as the seat of affection. You see, we've been born again. So this spirituality, walking in the spirit, doing our best to live in righteousness, all right? We understand what's at stake here. We put off the world, this present world. We're looking forward to the new world. We're looking forward to getting the new bodies. We're looking forward to getting the victory over death like Yahushai got. Let's see here. To attend, to fix the thoughts on, to regard with attention. So we're fixing our thoughts on being liberated. First, we've been liberated through the mind, but we want to be liberated with the new bodies. You see, we want to be beamed up in the big, gigantic chariot when Yahushua comes back on the day of the Lord. Let's see here. To attend to or regard with submission, to obey. So we've been brought back into submission under, Yahweh the Father and Yahushua. But we've been able to get back to the Father via Yahushua. We don't get back to the Father unless we listen to the words of Yahushua, unless we conformed to what Yahushua was speaking to us, the good news, the gospel, because the words of Yahushua are directly correlated with the words of Yahweh. To put in mind, to remind. So we've been reminded, okay, of the law, statutes, and the commandments. We've been reminded that we are the Hebrew Israelites. We've been reminded of our culture and our history in the Bible. To be inclined or disposed to incline. So we've been inclined to come back to this truth, you see? So let's go back here. Just wanted to break down that definition. Let's read this again. Romans 12 and verse 2. And be not conformed to this world, this present evil, wicked world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh. Let's get into that word conformed real quick. All right, this is the Greek translation of the word conformed.
Strong's G 4964. Suschematizo.
All right, which looks like some of that spell. The word is actually phonetically spelling system. So be not conformed to this system, Babylon, America, this wickedness here. You see, the schematics, the systematic, okay, way of life here in Babylon, America. Let's read the definition. To conform oneself, all right, one's mind and character to another's pattern. Fashion oneself according to. So be not conformed. Don't pattern yourself after Babylon, America. It's very wicked. Like I said, you have the birthdays, the holidays, okay, the bad foods, okay, the swine, the crustaceans, the tattoos that our people are involved in, the entertainment, the men with men, feminism, okay, believing in the principles of Babylon, America. Be not conformed to the pattern of Babylon, America. Don't fashion yourself according to this wicked, evil place. So let's go back here. All right, let's read this again. Romans 12 and verse 2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed. All right, by the renewing of your mind. So be renewed. We've been born again through the Spirit. And to be transformed means to be changed. So we've been changed, born again. Our spirits have been brought back to life. But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh. So we're doing our best to come back into the will of Yahweh by rehearsing the righteous acts, by putting off wickedness, by walking in the Spirit to the best of our abilities, despite being in these carnal bodies. Because the next step is, okay, the liberation of the body. But the mind has to come first. So let's continue. Romans, let's go to a precept. 1 John We have 1 John chapter 2, and let's read verse 15. And it reads, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So we're not to love this world. We're not to love the traditions of Babylon, America, all right? Or be conformed or fashion ourselves after the wickedness of Babylon, America. So love not this world. Verse 16, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. So this is the process of renewing our minds, being born again. Because this world is about lust of the flesh, adultery, things of that nature, okay? All types of lasciviousness, promiscuity, okay? And the lust of the eyes, which is idolatry, worship of money, cars, material things, so on and so forth. In the pride of life, many of our people, 2/3 of our people, are very prideful of their achievements. I got this degree, I got that, okay? I got, 100 suits. You can't wear 100 suits at one time. You can only wear one pair of, clothing at one time. You can only wear one pair of shoes at one time. You can only drive one car at a time. So many of our people are very, proud. I got $100,000 in my 401k. All right. Let me read this again. 1 John 2 and verse 16. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. You know what? Let me read 1 John 2 and verse 16, the NLT. For the world offers only a craving for physical pleasure, a craving for everything we see, and pride in our achievements and possessions. These are not from the Father, but are from this world. Be ye not conformed to this world. You see what I'm saying? All right. So the 1/3 elect, the hopeful elect, are saying humility. Okay, we've been transformed by the renewing of our minds. We've been born again. 1 John 2 and verse 17. And the world passeth away. This present world is going to pass away in the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of Yahweh abideth forever. And that's speaking of the 1/3 elect. On this side, they get beamed up and saved out of the destruction of Babylon, America on the day of the Lord. All right. This present evil, wicked world is going to pass away. And Yahweh is going to bring in righteousness. Okay. All right. And wickedness is going to be gone. That's going to be the old world. Right now, we're under wickedness under the leadership of the Edomites, so-called white man, the devil, or adversary. Okay. This world is wicked. It's their kingdom right now, but we know their kingdom is going to be ushered out. That's pursuant to 2nd Esdras, chapter 6 and verse 9. Okay? All right? So the new world is going to be brought in with Jacob. The old world of Esau is going to go out. So this world is going to pass away. But he that doeth the will of Yahweh, those of us who have been renewed in our minds, that have come back to this truth, knowledge, and wisdom, understanding, that are walking in the Spirit to the best of our abilities, putting off the old man, we're going to have an opportunity to get the new bodies and abideth forever, okay, and live forever on this side, the 1/3 elect. The 2/3 will come back in the kingdom. You see? So let's go to Titus chapter 2. And let's read verse 11. Titus 2 and verse 11. And it reads, for the grace of Yahweh that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men. And we know that grace was Yahweh Shai, the word in the flesh. All right. That's the salvation that appeared to all men. Now, only 1/3 of us, of the Hebrew Israelites, are going to be transformed. You see, are going to conform to this truth of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. 2/3 of our people are not going to hearken to this word. They're going to go their own way. And, that's already predestined pretty much. If you're part of the 1/3 elect, that's predestined. If you're part of the 2/3 that don't hearken to this word, that's predestined. It is what it is. Man's comings and goings are of the Lord. How can he then understand his way? Proverbs 20, chapter 20 and verse 24. Let me start again. Titus 2 and verse 11. For the grace of Yahweh that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men. Yahweh Shai was the word in the flesh, teaching us that denying ungodliness and worldly lust, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world. You see? So we have the example of Yahweh Shai, of course. The disciples then turned apostles, Apostle Paul, to live the godly life, all right, and deny, worldly lust and ungodliness, and be sober, clear-minded, and strive for righteousness in this present world. You see? So be conformed to the example of Yahweh Shai that he gave us. Titus 2 and verse 13, looking for that blessed hope in the glorious appearing of the great Lord and our Savior, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. So we're looking forward to the new world. We're looking forward to having an opportunity to get the new bodies. If you're part of the 1/3 elect, we say hopeful, of course, hope for elect and humility. So let's continue. Who gave himself for us that he might redeem us from all iniquity and purify unto himself a peculiar people, zealous of good works. So he sacrificed himself for us, the Hebrew Israelites, because we kept going off in the Old Testament. So Yahweh gave us a chance to be reconciled back to him through the sacrifice of Yahweh Shai, to redeem us, which means to be, bought back, all right? To purify us. So the purification starts in the mind first, and then the body will follow, all right? Because we're still in this carnal body. It's still very much corruptible, but we're doing our best with this grace period, being born again in the spirit, to come back to the Father via Yahweh Shai. All right, let's read this again. Titus 2, verse 14. Who gave himself for us, Yahweh Shai, that he might redeem us from all iniquity and purify unto himself a peculiar people, zealous of good works. All right? So we are a special people. We are a peculiar treasure, as the scripture says. So let's read verse, let's go to Ephesians chapter 2. Ephesians chapter 2, and this is verse 1. And you hath he quickened who were dead in trespasses and sins. So this is speaking of us, okay, before we were quickened or born again, all right? Before we were quickened, which means to be born again, we were dead in trespasses and sins. We were living a sinful life. Now we've been born again in the spirit due to the fact that Yahweh Shai redeemed us through a sacrifice. Let me start again. Ephesians 2 and verse 1. And you hath he quickened, Yahweh Shai, who were dead in trespasses and sins, where in time past ye walked according to the course of this world. We were conformed to this world, you see, in our past. According to the prince of the power of the air, that's talking about the satanic entity known as Satan, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. All right? Let's read this again, Ephesians 2. Where in times past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, Satan, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. You see? And we know the children of disobedience is speaking of Esau, the Edomites, because they are the sons of the wicked, but also 2/3 of our people who are being disobedient by not coming back to the Lord, by not hearkening to these words of Yahweh Shai, by not coming back despite the good news being preached over the YouTube, okay, through social media, through brothers on the highways and byways preaching this gospel, this good news. Our people are refusing to listen, and they continue to be children of disobedience. You see, their hearts have been hardened. So let's continue. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 4. And let's start off with verse 17. And it reads, This I say therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk, in the vanity of their mind, having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of Yahweh through the ignorance that is in them, because of the blindness of their heart. All right. So 2/3 of our people, they've been darkened. Okay. Their minds are full of darkness. You see. All right. Because they haven't come to the light. The light is out there. It's being shown via YouTube, social media, brothers doing videos on the highways and byways, the men of the Lord. Okay. So the light is out there, but they want to remain in darkness. All right. And this alienates you from Yahweh. It blinds you, so to speak. So let's continue. Let's read verse 19. Who being past feeling have given themselves over unto lasciviousness, to work all uncleanness with greediness. Let's read Ephesians 4 and verse 19, the NLT. They have no sense of shame. They live for lustful pleasure and eagerly practice every kind of impurity. So that's 2/3 of our people. It's not saying that the 1/3 hope for elect are perfect, but we're doing our best to rehearse the righteous acts. We're doing our best to walk in the spirit, so to speak. We've been born again, so we're not going to pile iniquity upon iniquity. You know, we know the name of Yahweh, the Most High, and his son's name, Yahushai. Okay, we're praying often, so we're doing our best to stay in the good graces of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Let's read Ephesians 4, and let's, you know what? Let's read Ephesians 4 and verse 20. Okay, they're all about Yahushai. All right. Okay, so we've heard about Yahweh because he is the word in the flesh. That ye put off concerning the former conversation, the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust. So we've thrown off that old man. We've been renewed in the mind. We've been born again. You see? Because the old man is full of corruption and deceitful lust. Spirit. We've been born again through the Spirit. Let's continue. In that ye put on the new man, which after Yahweh is created in righteousness and true holiness. Let's read Ephesians 4, verse 24, the NLT. Put on your new nature, created to be like Yahweh, truly righteous and holy. So we've been given that example through Yahushai, through the apostles, through Paul, you see, so on and so forth. So put on your new nature, you see. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Put off the old man to the best of our ability. So let's continue. Let's go to 1 Corinthians for an example of the liberation of the body. 1 Corinthians 15, and we have here verse 39. And it reads, all flesh is not the same flesh, but there is one kind of flesh of men, another flesh of beasts, another of fishes, and another of birds. So there are different kinds of flesh. There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial, but the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. So you have the celestial bodies, the angels, okay? We are angels in bodies as well. And you have the terrestrial body. Okay, those R's are hard to say. Okay, the earthly bodies, I should say. You have the heavenly bodies and you have the earthly bodies. Okay, verse 41. In another glory of the moon, in another glory of the stars, for one star differeth from another, and from another star in glory. So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption. It is raised in incorruption. So we know that Yahushai, he was raised up, resurrected. He got the victory over death because he was the perfect lamb. You see what I'm saying? But in his previous life, he was corrupt because in his previous life, he was Adam, and then he was, of course, Isaac, and then he was King Solomon, if you understand reincarnation. So we are all reincarnated, okay? But in his last lifetime, Yahushua was perfect, and he had to be perfect to forgive us for our sins, the Hebrew Israelites. Okay, so let's continue. 1 Corinthians 15. Let's read, let's go back here. Let's read verse 40. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 40. There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial, but the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. There is one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars, for one star differeth from another star in glory. So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption, it is raised in incorruption. It is sown in dishonor, it is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. So this is what we want. We want to be liberated with the new bodies. Verse 44. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. And so it is written, the first man, Adam, and that was Yahushua in his previous life, was made a living soul. The last Adam, which was Yahushua, okay, in his incarnation, his last incarnation, the last Adam was made a quickening spirit that allowed us to be born again through the Spirit. And then the next part of that process is the new body, the eternal body, the victory over death, like Yahushua got. Verse 46, howbeit that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual. Let's read 1 Corinthians 15, verse 46, the NLT. What comes first is the natural body, then the spiritual body comes later. Verse 47, the first man is of the earth, earthy, the second man is the Lord from heaven. Okay? So like it says in the scriptures, Yahushua said, I am the Alpha and the Omega. So he comes in the beginning of the book as Adam, and in the end of the book, okay, when he's going to crack those clouds on the day of the Lord as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So let's continue. Let's read this again. 1 Corinthians 15, verse 47. Let's read 1 Corinthians 15, verse 47 in the NLT. Adam, the first man, was made from the dust of the earth, while Yahushua, the second man, came from heaven. As is the earthy, such are they also that are earthy. And as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. Let's continue. And as we have borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. So the 1/3 hopeful elect are going to be beamed up, okay, and be granted new bodies. We're going to be changed, Lord willing, we're part of the elect, in the twinkling of an eye. 1 Corinthians 15, and let's read verse 50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahweh, neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. So we can't be in the presence of Yahweh without our bodies being changed, you see? So our bodies have to be changed. So like the lesson says, this truth is about liberation of the mind and then the body, you see? But we can't be in the kingdom of Yahweh with these corruptible bodies, so they have to be changed. Let me start again. 1 Corinthians 15 and 50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahweh, neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. Of course, this is Paul speaking. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. You see? So that's talking about also on the day of the Lord, those that have died in the faith, okay, are going to be beamed up first, you see? But also those that are here on the day of the Lord, okay, who don't die, it says here, we shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. So that's speaking of those of us who will be here on the day of the Lord with our physical bodies, okay? The 130 elect is going to be beamed up into the big, gigantic chariot. You see what I'm saying? All right? Let me read 1 Corinthians 15, verse 51, the NLT. But let me reveal to you a wonderful secret. We will not all die, but we will all be transformed. And we're coming up very close to that happening, okay? We are in the last 15 minutes of the last days, you see? All right? So some of us will die in the faith, and some of us will be present and be beamed up physically into the big, gigantic fathership in which Yahushua is going to be on. Let's read verse 52. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. You see? All right? So those of us, okay, those who have died in this faith will be raised up first, and then those who are here presently, you see, will be raised up and meet those who have died in the faith in the air and be beamed up into the big, gigantic fathership. But it's going to happen in the twinkling of an eye, all right? Okay? So we're going to get the new bodies. That's what we're looking forward to. 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 53. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. Let's read 1 Corinthians 15, verse 53 to NLT. For our dying bodies must be transformed into bodies that will never die. Our immortal bodies must be transformed into immortal bodies. So these bodies have to be changed into immortal bodies. Okay? These corruptible bodies have to be changed into incorruptible bodies. You see? So the mind is liberated first, being born again, quickened through the spirit, and then the body will be changed. Lord willing, we're part of the 130 elect. So let's continue. All right, let's read verse 54. So when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. So Yahushua was the first to get the victory over death. That's going to allow us to get an opportunity to get the victory over death. Lord willing, we're part of the 1/3 elect. 1 Corinthians 15, let's read. Let's go to one more precept, 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians, and let's read chapter 5, and let's read verse 1. And it reads, for we know that if our earthly house of this tabernacle were dissolved, we have a building of Yahweh, an house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. So your spirit goes back to Yahweh. You see? Let's continue. For in this we groan, earnestly desiring to be clothed upon with our house, which is from heaven. So we are weary in these bodies right now, because we know the promise that was made, okay, to us, that we have an opportunity to be beamed up and saved and get the new bodies, okay? We have a good opportunity to be saved out of the destruction of Babylon, America, with new bodies. So we are tired of these earthly bodies, all right? Now that we know the truth, now that we know that we are Hebrew Israelites, now that we know that Yahushua is coming back to deliver us. 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 3. If so be that being clothed, we shall not be found naked. Let's read 2 Corinthians 5 verse 3. For we will put on heavenly bodies. We will not be spirits without bodies. So we're going to get that same metamorphosis that Yahushua got when he was resurrected. So we're going to be spirits with our bodies. You see what I'm saying? All right. 2 Corinthians 5. Literally, we're going to be extraterrestrials. You see? 2 Corinthians 5 verse 4. For we then are in this tabernacle do groan. 2 Corinthians 5 verse 4. For we that are in this tabernacle do groan, this present earthly body, being burdened, not for that we would be unclothed, but clothed upon, that mortality might be swallowed up of life. So let's read 2 Corinthians 5, verse 4, the NLT. While we live in these earthly bodies, we groan inside. But it's not that we want to die and get rid of these bodies that clothe us. Rather, we want to put on our new bodies so that these dying bodies will be swallowed up by life. So we want those new bodies. We want that body of Yahushua, so to speak. You see? All right? Now he that hath wrought us for the self same thing is Yahweh, who also hath given unto us the earnest of the Spirit. So let's read 2 Corinthians 5, the NLT. Yahweh himself has prepared us for this, and as a guarantee, he has given us his Holy Spirit, the Rakak Wadash. That's why we've been born again, quickened. Verse 6, therefore, we are always confident, knowing that whilst we are at home in the body, we are absent from the Lord. You see what I'm saying? Okay? So while we're in these bodies, we know we're absent from the Lord. So we're hoping to be delivered on the day of the Lord as part of the 1/3 elect and get the new bodies. Okay? So our minds have been liberated, but we want the liberation of the body next. That's what we want next. The liberation of the body. We have the mind being liberated, born again, but we're looking forward to the liberation and getting the new bodies, okay, by being delivered on the day of the Lord, being beamed up into the big, gigantic fathership in which Yahweh Shai is going to be on. So on that note, I hope this lesson was edifying to you, and I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Rakak Wadash. Shalom. That was a tough one to get through, man. I mean, I got through it, but not now.